Good evening on this Wednesday evening, and welcome to my Insta Live session. Today, I have something very interesting for all of us. It is none other than fashion guru Prasad Bidapa who's joining us. Prasad Bidapa is a world famous fashion curator and a style curator, and for 4 decades, that's a lot of experience. He's the master of reinvention. He's a person who has made himself relevant through times and relevant through decades. We're talking about 4 decades of experience where he's made himself relevant, and he keeps reinventing himself. He is the person that is the go-to person when somebody wants to step into Bollywood, or somebody wants to launch their modeling career, or somebody wants to get into the beauty fashion industry. And he's launched a lot of faces across India. Some of our well-known faces in Bollywood today, like Deepika Padukone and Anushka Sharma, have been groomed by him in their initial modeling days. And so Prasad will be joining us shortly. And another important thing about Prasad is he's very warm and very generous. He's very happy to take people under his wing and nurture them and get them to be the best version of themselves. This is what's amazing about Prasad. I think I see him. Let's send an invite out to him and get him to join us. And so that's fantastic to have him with us, because he is definitely the go-to man. And he's somebody that you can ask without having to worry about the answer, because he's always thinking of what's best for both people. And let's see, I've sent him an invite. He should be joining us. There you
Hi,
are. Hey,
Chytra. How are
Prasad.
you? Very
Very
well,
good.
thank
And
you.
you?
Thank you for having me on your program.
Thank you for coming. I was just talking about you, and I was saying that it's amazing that in the fashion industry, for somebody to be so relevant through 4 decades. I didn't realize it was 4 decades. I thought 3 decades, but then I guess I'm older than I think. So it's amazing. And like I was telling people, you are the master of reinvention. So how is it that you've stayed on top of your game across 4 decades? What keeps you
I
motivated?
just sort of think I stay engaged. I love being part of everything. I love being
Mm-hmm.
relevant, and I love working. So I think that over the years and the thousands of
Mm-hmm.
fashion shows and fashion events and promotions that I've done, each one is still exciting to me. I still look forward to each new program with all the excitement that I had for the first one. And I think that I think I am my own biggest competition, really, because I'm constantly trying to outdo myself. So if I've done a particular stage set in a particular show, my next one can't be anything like that. However successful it was and however beautiful it was, we must move on. I think in life, it's a very important thing to keep going and moving upwards and constantly, looking to the universe for inspiration and letting the good ideas
Mm-hmm.
come to you, being open to it. So that's very important to me.
I think I love what you said, being your biggest competition yourself, because you're not trying to outdo somebody, you're looking at someone, you're trying to be the best version of yourself at all
Right.
times, right?
Because I think,
So are you your biggest critique?
sorry.
Sorry, you go ahead,
No,
I'll
it's
ask you
just, I
after.
think that one of the things that keep people like us very engaged in our business is a genuine interest in people. I'm very, very interested in people. I love young people. I'm so energized by them. My own children give me so many ideas. They keep telling me when I'm getting irrelevant. So they keep saying, now get on with it. Change the music that you're using, or change your presentation, or you've done this before. Why are you doing it again? So they are my worst critics, actually. And both of them see absolutely have no qualms in criticizing me or my work, but they mean very well. And I think I listen to what they say, because I think that a very important part of my life is that I listen to young people and I learn a lot from them. And I really enjoy that very much.
That's fabulous to know, because most times you would imagine that people who get to the level that you reach, which is the top of the game, will always have an ego and will not want to take suggestions.
Yeah, let me tell you how it's all started. It started in college for me, actually. And I used to dance
Okay.
quite well. So my cousin who studied at Jyotinavas College said, "Oh, can you come and help us with a fashion show?" And I said, "Sure." And I did it. And then my own college, St. Joseph, said, "You're doing a fashion show for them. You should be doing something for us." So I did something for my college, and there was no looking back. I just became so interested in the whole thing that as a teenager, I was earning pocket money doing small fashion shows for people, for boutiques like Uma's Boutique in Bangalore and April Shah's
Mm,
when that came up later. And then I went away to Ahmedabad to study design at NID. And that opened so many windows in my
mm,
mind. It showed me what the world was doing and what the bigger world out there was all about. And I wanted to come back to Bangalore because I always loved Bangalore as a city very much. I transferred to Bangalore in the 8th standard because my dad and mom were in the Air Force,
mhm,
and I sort of traveled around the country with them. But in high school, I think they decided I better go into boarding school because all the traveling was interfering with my studies. But I managed to come into Bangalore and got into Baldwin's. So it was a lovely
mhm.
experience. So coming back to Bangalore was my first choice. And my parents were here. They were aging. I wanted to be with them. And I came back to Bangalore from Ahmedabad and started an advertising agency that many people would remember called the Design and Print Group. And I handled clients
Mm.
like the Warehouse and Top Copy and Prince's and Knockout Discotheque. And we just had so much of fun. We were part of Bangalore's history, I think. And then the event business became larger than the advertising business. I'd studied advertising and graphic design, but now I found myself in a business that didn't even have a name. Nobody even called it event management in
Mhm.
those days. That was a term that came by much
Yes.
later. So I suppose in many ways, we were also some of the pioneers of people who were doing events and became event management professionals. And then the shows started getting bigger and bigger. The Karnataka government was very supportive and giving me a lot of shows to do all over the
Mhm.
country for Mysore Silk. And doing shows like that has remained a passion for me because I truly believe that India has the greatest amount of treasures when it comes to artisanal art, to textiles, to craft, to all the wonderful, beautiful handmade things that we do in this country. So I keep always asking everyone,
Mhm.
don't you think a Banaras sari is even more luxurious than a designer bag? Because it has the element of the hand in it, and it's got hours of labor, of
Yes.
skilled labor, of people who doing a 3,000-year-old tradition of weaving saris are weaving something
Yes.
specially for you. So it's just amazing what India can do. And I just believe that Indian product is the best product in the world. That if any designer starts using Indian textiles to make their clothes, they can but only succeed. So I always say, why do you run to a Chinese
Yes.
shop and buy black nylon fabric to make
Mm.
a dress with when you could be buying beautiful malmal or kota doria or khadi in the Indian markets and making things that nobody else can copy? Till today, I feel that a designer who sits with the weaver, sits with the craftsman, develops
Mm.
beautiful new fabrics, beautiful new interpretations of textiles, and then makes clothes with them. I find them very unique designers. Designers like Abraham and Thakur, Rajesh Pratap Singh.
Mm.
Closer to home, we have Sanchita, we have Raj, we have Shalini. We have so many wonderful people doing beautiful work with handlooms. And I've always believed that you must wear Indian handlooms because that's what's so unique and special about us. India is the last country in the world to have such a texturized and rich heritage of fabrics and textiles. Why are we not using it more? I want young people to understand the beauty of khadi. In fact, I've made it my life's mission now to say that khadi is really going to be the next big statement in luxury. that if you can afford to have your clothes hand woven and handmade, what greater luxury is there than that, Chaitra?
See, it's that advertising spin that you're putting on it now. Because when growing up, you think of khadi as just being, oh, it's
Bad image
khadi,
was given to
right? You
it.
don't really pay attention. Yeah, it was just like, oh, it's something that Mahatma Gandhi time, some spinning wheel. That's the image. And then you see all these luxury fashion houses. They're like, oh, this is the haute couture line. This is our Pret line because this has 100 hours of hand embroidery, and you're thinking this fabric took 300 hours, but you don't care about it, right? It's the way I think people market it and the way they put it across. And the way you put it across, honestly, I think I own only one khadi item. But the moment you spoke about Banarasi sari and the way you spoke about the khadi, I was like, ooh, I better start
You
investing
should.
in khadi
Because
before the
I'll tell you
prices
one thing, you
skyrocket.
can spend a lot of money and buy a designer dress, wear it a couple of times, and then you'll just forget all about it. But if you buy a Banarasi sari, you can wear it so many times in your life. Every time you change the choli, it looks
True.
different. The way you drape it can change.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can leave it to your daughter, who would most probably be delighted to have an heirloom like that when she's old enough to understand it
Oh,
and want to wear it herself, you know?
it'll have to be my goddaughters. I have a son now, right? So you met Aaron, you know Aaron, but yeah, so it'll have to be my goddaughters or daughter-in-law, who knows, or girlfriends of my son. But either, I'm sure it'll be exciting times. But you're big into textiles now, right? Like I saw that you're doing a lot of work with textiles right now.
I
I think I
lost you for a
lost you for a
minute. I didn't
minute.
get your
Can
question
you hear me?
properly. So,
Yeah. I said I said right now you're big into textiles, right? I think you've become this spokesperson or the face for
for
textile
heritage
industry.
textiles, for the traditional textiles of
Yes.
India,
Yes.
not for the machine made textiles so much.
Do you want to
You see,
talk
machine made textiles have their place in this world. You need airline crews being dressed in
mm,
machine made fabric. You need firefighters. You need all kinds of things with man made fabrics. But in that luxurious 10% of your wardrobe, you've got to have the handmade, the hand embroidered, the hand spun and hand woven, because the hand is just something magical. And in India, we have valued the work of the
mm,
hand for centuries. You know, we have been exporting textiles for
yes.
3,000 years. We've exported silk to the Roman Empire. We've exported
Mm,
cotton and silk to England during colonial times. We have things of such unsurpassed beauty that at the end of the day, nobody
mm,
can compare to what we have. And that goes in many other things. Look at the beauty business that you are in. When we teach young models how to look after their skin and how to look after their hair,
mm-hmm.
I'm using a lot of my grandmother's recipes from the kitchen. I'm telling them to
Yes.
do face
Yes.
packs and face scrubs with rice powder instead of buying very expensive products, which they cannot afford. They're young models, college students. I don't want to give them options that are expensive or make them go to their parents and pull out money to buy expensive product when you can get such wonderful things in your own kitchen. One of the face packs that I'm very famous
True.
for is to do a facial scrub with rice powder and follow it up with a face pack
Mm-hmm.
which has cream, fresh
Mm-hmm.
cream, and half a lime juice in it,
Malai.
malai and lime, and it's magical. It keeps your skin looking so young, it makes you glow, and the rice powder is one of the best things you can use as a scrub. Of course, you can't do the kind of
Yes.
things that you
You
do
know,
in your clinic, the kind of correction work that you do, or you use help very damaged skin get better. But if you inculcate good habits in your youth and you keep looking after your skin, by the time you're 40 and 50, your skin will be looking fantastic, you know?
yeah, like your skin looks amazing. I mean, your skin is
Yeah.
so
With
healthy
no
and
makeup.
glowing. Ah, fantastic. Nice. But yeah, it's true because, I remember like even now when I talk about tips, a lot of time people will say, is there anything we can do at home? Because people don't really want to get out. And especially I've seen that budding actors, budding models, etc., are still young, right? They still haven't made it. So they don't have the money. They have a very shoestring budget. It's hand to foot, literally. And like you said malai. Malai is lactic acid in my clinic. Your Nimbu is citric acid in my clinic. So basically, you're just doing what it is. And Ayurveda, when we go back to our Indian medicine, the combination of Ayurveda with like Western medicine is fabulous for skincare
So
nowadays.
many things. I remember almond paste, besan face packs,
Mm,
they're all beauty things.
yes.
And also, of course, one thing that we teach our models is that a clean stomach is the basis of beauty. Be very careful about what you
Mm,
put in your mouth. Stop eating junk food. Stop eating fried street food. Clean up your act. You're hungry, eat a raw fruit, a raw vegetable. Keep it clean, keep it simple,
mm-hmm,
and you'll always show that on
mm,
your outward. Your beauty will enhance when you eat beautiful things. So we try and give them a holistic kind of attitude towards life, where they do kitchen beauty and they
mm-hmm.
do very clean eating, a very good workout routine. They put all this together and create a life which I think is inexpensive and simple to run. You know.
Mm. So, what if somebody wants to start out? What do you think is going to be the face? I mean, fashion industry. Like we've had fashion shows, beauty pageants, events along those lines, and now with social distancing on all these norms. And yesterday I was on a call with the Poonawalas. They had a seminar on their vaccine, and they said it'll take 2 years before the whole of India would get vaccine. And I also saw that Gucci did a closed fashion show recently
That's
where
right.
they had the models walk, but everything was just like there were no people live there. What do you think is the
Well, I'm
is
an
fashion
optimistic
in
sort. I
the future?
believe that our lives will come back to us again. And it's up to us to lead a more considered
Mm-hmm.
life, to be kinder to this planet, to not, use so much of plastic and not chuck so much of plastic around, to move away from synthetic fabrics to khadi and natural fabrics, which degrade beautifully in the earth. Khadi fabric in a year is
Mm.
degradable, biodegradable, whereas nylon
Wow.
lasts 1,000 years, choking the earth, choking the waterways of this earth. All of us have to consciously reduce our carbon footprints. And while you're doing it, to answer your
Mm.
question, I do think things will get better and you will be doing fashion shows again and people getting together again once the pandemic passes, once we have the cure for it, once we
Mm.
have the vaccine for it. But that might be a year away. So, for a year, be ready to lead a life that is virtual. Look at us having this conversation with so many other people and having a kind of a
Yeah,
chat online and being like almost in front of each other. So a lot of my shows are
it
moving
is.
online. We've spoken to many of our regular clients
Mm.
about creating online shows, creating spaces for fashion in the virtual world. Our project is actually called the Virtual Runway, and we launched it. And the first show we did
Oh,
was with
wow.
Aviva. My daughter is a swimwear designer.
Mm-hmm. Oh God, her swimsuits are
So you can
so
just go on to
sexy.
avivabidapa.com and check out her swimsuits. She has her own website, and I think that is going to be the future. I mean, Chaitra, girls like you have been buying online for a long time now. I know you like
Yeah.
going shopping, and we like going to the malls. We like going and having lunch when we're shopping. I think that will never change. But a lot of the shopping that we do is also going to be online. I know that before the lockdown, even I found myself buying a lot of clothes, especially from Japanese designers online, and
Mm.
beautiful flowing clothes that I couldn't find in India. And I suddenly said, my God, I'm buying so much online. Where do I go shopping? And I love shopping. I really love going shopping to stores like Uniqlo and Zara and H&M, and then
Mm.
Indian stores like Fab India, and I love shopping in
Yes.
villages and in khadi bhandars and places like that. But I think that we will find a balance in our lives. We'll do half of this and half of that, and somehow learn to lead
Half of that.
a new kind of a life.
Yeah, I think that's the great thing about being human beings, right? We're very good at adapting. Like in February of this year or January of this year, nobody would have predicted that we would be doing what we're doing now. But everything is seamlessly moving on,
Topsy-turvy, really.
and people are still finding ways. Yeah, people are still finding ways to communicate and stay in touch.
Yeah.
So that's a
And you
great
see, the
thing.
thing is that fashion is it needs a lot of communication. I think a woman wanting to buy a dress also wants to touch it and feel it, especially if it's in the expensive category.
Mm,
But if you're just buying
yes.
ordinary kind of stuff online, like fast fashion, then you can pick up a kurta, a blouse, what even a sari, for knowing that it's not going
Mm-hmm.
to cost you too much of money. You don't mind if it goes wrong, you're not really wasting it. You can always gift it to someone. But if you were buying a Banarasi
That's
sari, I'm
true.
sure you'd love to go and sit at Vijay Lakshmi or Deepam or Nalli's and, have them thrown across the table and
Have
drape
them
it on
throw that
yourself and
sari
see
out
which
like
color
that.
suits you. And yeah, I think so. I think you
Very
need that
true.
touch and feel is very important, really.
A stimulation to all our
Yeah,
senses.
yeah. So, what are the new? So, you tell
We have
us
a
something
question
about new
here.
trends in the beauty business and what you've been doing, Chaitra.
So for us, a lot of the trend has become like online, like you said. So we've been doing a lot of online consulting, but more importantly, my clinic and my doctors, my research team, I have a science lab that does a lot of research where they try and take Ayurvedic formulas and integrate it with Western formulas to bring skincare. So we have a new skincare
Oh,
launching
fabulous.
called Skin Q. And there was Yeah, it's the first of its kind. It's only for people of colored skin, which means like Indian skin. It's not, it's all tested only for skin of color. So it's specific
You
to
should do
Indian skin.
makeup for Indian
And
skin
it's,
because it's the one thing that I find so difficult. Most foundations today are done either for very pale skins or for very dark skin.
mm,
There's
oh,
just
very,
nothing
yeah,
that's really
that's
wonderful
true.
in
That's a
between.
good idea.
MAC does a lot of nice things for Indian skin. But even over there, I find that you can go chalky and look very powdery if you get the color wrong. And Indian skins have a range
Very
of
true.
colors that are quite different from anyone else in the world. I've never seen Indian skin matched anywhere
The
else.
reason is the,
They say Mexicans have Indian skin, but I
no,
don't agree.
no. But you know why? When you break it down to the skin, Indians don't have just a brown pigment. We have a brown and a yellow. So normally when we break the skin down in the
We
Oriental
have a lot
people,
of yellow in
like if
the
you see
skin.
Northeastern India and Orient,
But
they're
big
all
makeup
yellow,
artists
right?
are actually
Whereas
adding a lot of
Indians in
yellow
general have this.
as the base. But I don't know
Yes,
whether, I mean, they wind up
yes.
looking a bit too golden for me. I like very natural looking skin. Even if you're wearing makeup, it must still look
Mm,
natural, not caked. And even on stage,
yes.
I don't like to see my models caked with makeup. I like them to have a very
Mm,
natural base. Maybe you can do up the eyes a lot or do the mouth up a lot, but never
mm,
both. Because it's very tarty when you wear
yes,
that much of
yes.
makeup. And I think it sends out the wrong kind of
True.
message, especially to men, who think that a girl who wears a lot of makeup is very available or something like that. So don't make that mistake, of thinking
That's
that that makeup is there to hide your skin. It's there to enhance your skin.
yes.
It may be there to cover a few blemishes, but there's no need to plaster it on like, plaster of Paris on your skin. I don't like that. I hate to see very made up, highly made up skin. Bollywood also tends to wear too much of makeup, I feel. At one point, I was looking at a show where the
Yeah.
girls were so heavily made up that I couldn't tell the difference from one to the other. They had all become like
Mm,
clones, replicas of each other with the
mm,
same shaped mouth, that pouty mouth, and the same almond shaped eye, the same skin color. I don't like
mm,
that. I like women looking their individual best. I'd like every model in the show to look different because that's how the buyers are. Every woman is different. One has short
yes,
hair, one has long hair,
yes.
one has curly hair, one has straight hair. We have such a wide variety of looks in our country that I think all designers have to concentrate on, servicing all these looks, making sure that in their collection there's something for the North Indian girl from Jalandhar, and at the same time there's
Yes.
something for the South Indian girl from Coimbatore. That's where Sabyasachi is very
Very true.
clever.
And the taste is so
Sabyasachi does that
vast.
very well. Yeah.
Yeah, but yes, he does. He seems to have crossed all genres and reached out to
He's a very clever
everybody.
young man. He does very good work. But we have great designers in India. I think that, in fact, in the future years to
Mm,
come, you're going to see that some of the best designers in the world are going to be from India. We're slowly but surely making good
good.
inroads into the global fashion scene. And anyway, you see, the West is not so important any longer for us. Today, India is the large market.
No.
I tell young designers, don't worry about what's happening in the rest of the world. You've got the biggest markets here in India.
Mm.
You worry about what's happening in Chinchpokli and Chamrajpet. There's no need for you to go about
Yeah,
Paris, London,
that's
New York,
true.
Rome. Those days are gone. They're irrelevant now. We don't have to cater to the West anymore. They should be coming and buying all our beautiful fabrics to make their own clothes, and they're doing it more and more. More and more Western labels are coming in.
Hmm.
Today, a Japanese brand like Uniqlo has tied up with an Indian designer like Reena Singh to create a beautiful line of kurtis for the Indian market.
Nice.
How wonderful! In handloom fabrics, a
Fabulous.
Japanese
That's
store, and it was
amazing.
so successful that they re-exported it back to Japan also. So Reena's become a very well-known name in
Wow.
Japan now. It's just fantastic when things like that happen to young
That's
Indian designers. I love that. Are you coming out with other
it is.
products of your own, Chaitra? Like?
Yes, we are. We're So there's a facial kit that I'm coming out with. It's for the Indian skin type. Like you have hydration kit, you have like a detan and a glow kit, and then you have one for oily skin for the pores and acne management. So it's almost like doing yourself a chemical peel. Like the detan kit that I have has malai, it has lemon extracts like you spoke about, and it's got algae and seaweed. So
So
it's
you wear
very
it as an
natural,
overnight
but it's a
cream?
chemical. Yeah, there are some which are overnight, and then there are some which you just put on and then wash off after
I
10
see.
minutes, like quick fixes, and then
Oh,
there are
I'd
some which
love
are
to try them
overnight.
out. I'd
So
love to
yeah,
try them.
I'm gonna send you. You'll be my first
That would be
person when the
wonderful. I
pack comes
just
out.
love
All the
experimenting
skin.
with skin stuff. Unfortunately, I have no hair. Otherwise, I could have experimented with hair stuff also. But I'm happy with a skincare routine because I really believe that skincare has to begin when you're a child. And to all you women out there listening to this with
Yes,
young daughters, teach them to look after their skin from the time they can, from the time they're 5 and 6 years old. Teach them to keep it clean,
yes,
teach them to keep it hydrated, teach them not to wear too much of makeup, teach them natural beauty.
very nice. Well put. So we have some questions for you. Um, Somebody wants to know what's the piece of clothing that you spend your most money
The
on
piece of clothing that I would spend the most money on is a jacket, a
that
bandgala
you already
or a
stitched?
jacket because I can wear it 10 times in a row, changing the kurta or shirt that I'm wearing inside, changing the gamcha and wearing something beautiful like this baby Russell gamcha that I'm wearing right now, which is a lovely kantha on silk from Bangladesh actually. And
Mm,
key
nice.
pieces are what you need to buy. Like, for example, if you bought a beautiful black and silver Banarsi sari, you could wear it with a long sleeved red and gold choli. You could wear it with a black bikini
Mm,
top, and it would change character completely. So, always invest in very good pieces because that's what slow fashion is all about. So, at least 70% of your wardrobe should be made up of slow fashion, beautiful pieces that you can wear again and again and again, changing just a few things around it to make it look different. I think that's what adds value to clothes. So for me, I think it would be either a beautiful Rajesh Pratap Singh Bandgala or an Abraham and Thakur silk kurta or maybe an ensemble from BB Russell, which is timeless. I can wear them for 10
mm.
years in a row. and I can keep wearing it as long as it fits me.
Mm.
I love clothes like that.
Yes. Nice. Classics. Totally classics. There's another question. It says, what's your fashion tip for COVID times?
My,
Fashion tip
I
for
think it's a
COVID
good time to
times.
clean out your wardrobe, and to just take out everything that you don't wear, have an exchange party with your friends, get everyone to bring all the clothes they
Ooh,
want
good
to
idea.
give away, and then everyone uses everyone else's clothes. Why not? We have to learn to upcycle, we have to learn to recycle, we have to learn to repurpose clothes. Tomorrow, one of your saris is torn,
Mm.
cut off the torn bit and make a kaftan with the rest of it. Make a kurta with it and a churidar,
Mm.
If you have a shirt that's
Yeah.
collar is gone, take it to the tailor and have the collar turned. The shirt becomes as good as new. You have a beautiful kurta that you've always loved,
Fantastic.
change the buttons on it, add big gold buttons to it, have some fun with it, but repurpose your clothes. You'll be doing the earth a big, big favor you know because with fast fashion you must be
Oh.
very careful to stop buying wastefully, to stop buying clothes that you're just going to buy and wear maybe once or twice. Why do you need that next t-shirt? You've got 10 t-shirts lying in your cupboard that you've never worn. So be very careful when you start buying. This is the time that we have to batten
Mm.
down. We have to spend less money, not by quantity but by quality.
Point.
That's my
That is
COVID tip.
true. And I can see that transition. When we're young, whatever you see, you just want to go and buy, 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 buy. And you're like, I have 10 shirts and I have
Absolutely.
10 jeans. But then as we get more mature, I wouldn't say older, but as we mature in our taste, it's like, I'd rather buy two pieces, but those two pieces have
Perfect.
to be like amazing and they have to
When you go
last.
to Fab India, you can put
Okay,
together
this.
a kurta, a
Mm,
churidar, and a dupatta in any
mm-hmm,
combination you want. You can play designer with
yeah,
shops like that, and really do good
yes,
stuff and put together
yes.
a good wardrobe. Well, I cleaned out my wardrobe a lot over the COVID months. I took out a lot of things that I
Mm-hmm.
was not wearing and I gave it away to friends and to family and to whoever wanted it. The house help wanted a few of the warmer jackets and bandis that I was giving away. So I was so happy that people wanted them because it meant that they were all getting a completely new lease of life.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I think I'm
Please
gonna
do that,
definitely
Chaitra.
do that. I think clean
Yeah.
out my wardrobe. Yeah, yeah, definitely. I have stuff from years, but I gotta get rid of stuff. One more question we have is, considering that we're not using our Indian clothes for a while now, is there any way to keep these fabrics in good
Well, you
condition?
see, the thing is that a silk sari with zari on it, must never be folded. It
Mm-hmm.
must be rolled. If you can get an
Mm-hmm.
aluminium curtain rod and roll your sari on it and then wrap it in muslin, there
Mm-hmm.
will never be folds on it because
Mm-hmm.
folding a zari sari makes the
Mm-hmm.
zari thread break. And that's how a tear in a sari
Mm-hmm.
happens. A silk sari, for example, must only be hand washed. And even there, only if whichever part of
Okay.
it gets dirty. I mean, how dirty does a silk sari get when you worn it to one afternoon? If maybe you've spilled some curry on it, wash that part of it. Make sure it's clean and put it back into storage. Keep your clothes in a very organized manner. Hang all your valuable clothes. Make sure that your pants are graded, that you have all your black pants together and your gray pants together and your jeans together. Bring some order into your wardrobe. And when you wear something, put it to the extreme right so you know that you've worn it recently. And that way you cycle your clothes much better. I think that having an organized wardrobe shows that you have an organized mind. So we teach models how to have an
Mm,
organized
that's true.
wardrobe too.
Yeah. There's another question saying that if I just do a degree in a fashion designing, is that enough for me to be a
Well,
fashion
I
designer?
always advise fashion designers that when you finish 4 years of study in a reputed institution like NIFT or Pearl or one of the better
Mm,
institutions, then actually your training has to begin. Then you become an apprentice with some big designer whose work you admire. you learn from them. You join an exporter, you learn how to export garments to the West and what kind of clothes they want. Or you join a brand like one of the Arvind brands or one of the Madura brands like Van Heusen or Pepe or Levi's or whoever. Get a lot of experience under your belt before you launch your own label. If you launch it soon after going out of college, you will almost certainly fail because you don't know enough about the business. So 4 years of study plus 4 years of experience in all these three things that I spoke about, and then begin designing in a very small way. Start from home, making clothes at home for your friends and immediate circle. When you have enough confidence, start supplying a boutique. And step by step, you will become bigger and bigger. Nothing happens immediately.
That is absolutely great advice. Absolutely great. I always tell people, if you want to get a career, you got to get the education and you got to
Yeah.
get the experience. And you can't, and it's very few people that can just come off and say, I don't need any training and then make a click of it. It's just very
Absolutely.
extremely rare. So I always tell everybody, work somewhere else. And I tell them, make all your mistakes with somebody else because they'll be there to correct them for you. Another question we have is saying that if I want to get into modeling, what's the age and where should I start?
Well, if you put on the television, you can see people of every age, every complexion, every size, every kind of person, whether you're a Masi or a Chacha or a Chachi or a 10-year-old girl or a 5-year-old child. There's always work for you. Anyone can be a model today. When you put on television, you see the different types of people there are. So modeling has some bhags in it. If you're tall and skinny, you'll make a good runway model. If you're short and petite and photogenic, you'll make a very good print model. If you are good at acting and you have a vivacious personality, you'll be very good at doing television commercials and films later on. So you see, an Aishwarya Rai who was good at all these things became a superstar. Some girls become only runway stars. Some girls become only print models. So it depends on what your talent is. Identify the talent and go after that. Television is a great place for young people who are energetic and full of life and who love to act and jump around and have a lot of fun. Television's a great place to be. You can be there. Runway is tough because you have to be almost deadpan in your presentation. You're tall, you're skinny, you've got to have great attitude on stage, but you don't have to interact with the audience. But a print model has to interact with the camera. So you see, you have to find out what you're good at and go after that aspect of modeling. And then you will always be very successful.
They're asking if there's a course starting at your institute and when's your next
Well, you
course?
see, because of COVID, we had to shut the institute down for a couple of months, but we are hoping to resume by the month of September. So in September, all our courses will begin again because we offer model grooming, we offer corporate grooming, and we offer acting. My wife, Judy, is a great actress with a lot of plays to her credit and directed and acted. And she does a wonderful acting class that people just love. So by September, I hope to have all of this launched again. So.
She gave me some great tips for parenting for RN, and they've really panned out well. I got to call and thank her for it.
Tell me again.
I said she gave me some great tips for parenting for RN. And when we were discussing about parenting, she gave me some really good tips. And I should say thank you to her for me. I will message her.
That's lovely.
So these courses that you're doing in September, are they online?
No,
or
unfortunately,
are they like
we thought about trying to teach modeling online, but I really need to look at a model. I need to correct her walk. I need to, do expressions with her. It's something that I can do grooming, for example, online. I can take grooming classes and tell them how to groom themselves, what kind of things to use to make your body look better, You can't, I can't do that otherwise. but on a one-on-one basis is very important for a really good modeling school. So I'm going to wait till September to start that again.
Okay, that's fantastic. So there's that question answered. Good. Looks like we got almost all our questions answered for today. Prasad,
My
thank you
pleasure.
so much for joining me today. And I want you to give a few words of advice to all the people watching us, the boys, the girls, the men, and the women. A few
Well, the
words of
only advice
advice.
I have to give you at this point in time is stay cheerful, stay focused. I know our lives look like we're all part of a disaster movie, and life has changed so much, but don't let it get you down. Think of it as a student taking a break here and say, I'm taking a break here to get my act together, to get my mind together, to get my priorities right. And maybe time to think, okay, yes, we are going to be more broke. We are going to earn less money. Well, learn to eat a little less food, you know. Let's manage, let's keep cheerful, and let's go ahead with life and live it to the fullest. So that's my advice to everyone out there.
That's awesome. Thank
Thank
you,
you, Chytra.
Prasad.
See you
Thank you
again.
so much for
And bye,
joining us
everyone
today.
who joined
See,
us. Thank
see
you
you
for
soon.
joining. It was lovely chatting with all of you. Bye, Chytra.
Bye, Prasad. So I thank Prasad for joining us and for sharing his wisdom with us and also all of his experience in the fashion industry. That's 4 decades in a matter of 40 minutes for us. But, like he said, let's stay cheerful, let's stay happy, and be thankful for what we have. And I'll see you all on Saturday again, Saturday night at 9:30. Bye.